This video provides a general discussion of the Global Environmental Outlook, or GEO. It is part of a series that will be tackling various aspects of the 6th edition of the publication, also referred to as GEO6. The United Nations is an intergovernmental organization established to promote international cooperation. One of the key issues that it addresses is the environment. In 1972, the United Nations Environment Program, or UNEP, was established to coordinate the UN's environmental activities, assisting developing countries in implementing environmentally sound policies and practices. To this end, UNEP has issued a series of reports that represent a thorough analysis of the state of the global environment. Its aim is to guide environmental decision-making by providing relevant information on global environmental issues. This series of reports is GEO. The first one, GEO1, was published in 1997. We are now working towards the publication of GEO6. These are some of the earlier published GEO reports, which included different versions focusing on various industry and segment-specific data, such as the impact of the changing environment on local government, on business, and on the youth. GEO's aim has progressively changed over the years. GEO1 was published to establish a baseline scenario. GEO2 gave a more comprehensive analysis of region-specific environmental data in relation to the baseline scenario. GEO3 was the beginning of a more strategic orientation, focusing on human concerns and containing a forward-looking analysis that addressed possible future scenarios. GEO4 continued this strategic orientation by relating environmental information with the Millennium Development Goals. The emphasis of GEO5 was on meeting specific, internationally agreed goals. GEO6 is in a whole different level altogether. Unlike previous editions, GEO6 is more comprehensive, inclusive, and holistic. It will provide the first integrative baseline in light of global megatrends supported by open access to data, with due consideration given to gender, indigenous knowledge, and cultural dimensions. What do you mean by open data? Data is open if you are free to use, reuse, and redistribute it. Generally, this means that the data should be released in a form that is free of royalties and other IP restrictions. Open, in this instance, refers to the fact that the public, when accessing released open data, does not have to pay fees for its use or be subjected to unfair restrictions. It does not imply that private or government entities are compelled to release all their data to the public. The GEO6 report will lay the foundation for continued socio-environmental assessments across relevant scales, tracking the targets of the Sustainable Development Goals, as well as other environmental goals previously established through international consensus. The enhanced policy analysis in GEO6 will assist member states to find the most effective pathways towards sustainability. The report will deliver data in a transparent manner through a common framework of definitions or semantics, and relationships or ontologies. Here is an example of data ontology, one deemed simplest among the SDG ontologies. Here, the discussion of air pollution gives visibility to a broad range of indicators as they relate to the general phenomenon. Target areas such as poverty, public health, and urban living are analyzed as they relate to air pollution. Questions are raised such as, have pollution-related illnesses led to loss of school or work days? Has there been an increase in hospital admissions? Has the rate of air pollution-related fatalities lessened? This allows stakeholders to know which areas to improve on when target goals are not met. Giving visibility to the relationship between sets of data will allow policymakers and government units to identify the specific causes of a problem and eventually draft appropriate policies and action plans. The GEO6 Community of Practice, or COP, is a vibrant and growing community of experts and practitioners who are sharing ideas, information, and experiences. It consists of 3 distinct groups. These 3 groups will ensure that the GEO6 report is an in-depth, scientific, and interdisciplinary. The High-Level Intergovernmental and Stakeholder Group, or the HLG, provides guidance to the policy assessment process and substantive support to relevant outreach activities. The Scientific Advisory Panel, or the SAP, guides the assessment process and ensures the scientific credibility and overall quality and integrity of GEO6. The Assessment Methodologies Data and Information Working Group, or AMG, provides advice and inputs on assessment methodologies, data and information flows, and quality assurance procedures. Let us focus on the AMG, for which our own Mr. James Donovan is participating. It is composed of 25 experts selected by the Secretariat in consultation with the UNEP Chief Scientists and the UNEP Regional Offices. The AMG is composed of 5 task forces that will ensure data quality and adherence to the overall data framework. The Data Quality Task Force ensures data relevance, accuracy, transparency, and availability. The Policy Analysis Task Force advises on procedures and scientific principles for policy analysis. The Outlook and Scenarios Task Force clarifies terminologies and principles for transparent and robust scenario building. The Data Fabric Task Force is assigned to design and develop the big data process and framework that could be expanded to cover all of the Sustainable Development Goals. The Cross-Cutting Task Force develops the manual and the massive open online courses, or MOOC. Within the AMG, Mr. Donovan leads the Data Fabric Task Force, cementing the partnership between ADIC Innovations and the UN. This partnership with the UN through GEO6 will form part of our ADIC Innovations business model, where certain institutions are projected to bring value to the organization directly and indirectly, helping generate new business as we build a reputation by assisting the AMG. The AMG will be dealing with an enormous amount of socio-environmental data. For that data to be meaningful, the relationships of indicators to issues, as well as to other indicators, will be structured using a variety of conceptual frameworks. The GEO6 COP will be using various frameworks in understanding the state, trend, and outlook of the environment, such as the DPSIR framework, SDG ontology, natural capital flows, and accounting approaches, and biophysical approaches. In this video, we will focus on the DPSIR framework, which analyzes issues in terms of drivers, fundamental processes in society that drive activities having a direct impact on the environment, pressures, human interventions, intentional or unintentional, in social and economic sectors of society that result in environmental change, state, environmental state and trends, often referred to as environmental change, which could be both naturally and human-induced. Impacts, change that may positively or negatively influence human well-being through changes in ecological services and environmental stress. And responses, elements among the drivers, pressures, and impacts which may be used for managing society in order to alter the human-environment interactions. In assessing the influence of human society on environment, the DPSIR framework will help map out the direct and indirect influence of human development on water and land resources, on the atmosphere, and on biodiversity, as well as possible responses to human-induced environmental crises. In the analysis of water resources, the framework can help reveal the current state of water quality decline brought about by population growth and by human activities such as the use of fertilizers and pesticides. Such activities affect humans in terms of nourishment and health. Governments and businesses respond to this through policies, regulations, or business model innovations. In the analysis of urban air quality, the framework can help reveal how air quality is affected by rapid population growth and direct human contributions to air pollution through motor vehicle emissions. These emissions have long-term impacts on public health, raising the mortality rate. Governments, in response, come up with regulations and policies to mitigate its risk. In the analysis of coastal marine resources, the framework can help reveal how their decline is driven by high energy demand. It creates the need to transport more fuel from country to country, increasing the risk of oil spills. This in turn will have an impact on human well-being, affecting livelihood, tourism, and recreation for those living near the coastal area. Responses, in this case, include oil spill cleanup plans, more stringent regulations on the transport of fuel using barge vessels, or incentives for those who will invest on oil tanker technologies. As demonstrated here, the DPSIR framework is flexible and can be applied to the analysis of various environmental issues, trends, and outlook included in the GEO6 report. This ends our overview discussion of GEO6 and the DPSIR framework. In the next videos in this series, we will be discussing the different working groups and task forces under GEO6, as well as other frameworks to be used in analyzing the state of the environment.